I don't know if the thumbnail is the Minecraft map or not. Will be eventually. Anyway, this is a explanation video of just all of the stuff going on with what I'm doing. Um, First, I am going to get a better cameraman eventually. To because I'm too lazy to learn editing software at the moment. Which is the reason why you watch my content. A lot of it looks like I am all over the place because I end up with different multiple trains of thought. But anyway, that's beside the point. On to the actual video. Today I am starting a stream on where I'm going to be taking the seed for a famous Minecraft world. And I'm going to be playing a video gameized version of Minecraft where most people who do this kind of thing are playing a plot line or whatever else. I'm really be doing things like doing the quest line that actually has where you have to actually do all of the steps of everything that I'm laying out right now. And then from there, I've got it's there's a couple of different things about how uh how 2B2T history and alternate stuff that is just beside the point and more personal amusement than anything. But yeah, the world that I'm doing is part of a larger game dev learning project. I'm like self educating myself, learning everything that needs to be done for for doing a mod pack and learning to mod and all of that. And because of the fact I can't get the list of stuff that I need, the way that like I don't people like once I've actually talked to people who understand what I mean, who are in like the actual like doing real video games, people who like work for studios like Ubisoft and stuff. Um, yeah, it's just the one off the top of my head. But like Blizzard is another studio that does real games. But like I know people who actually do like actual game development stuff, and they understand that what I mean is that like all of the little things that you have to know about it. There's so many things they do just automatically on a daily basis that they couldn't even tell you like how many different actual parts are involved in it. And when you look at this one thing that is, oh, okay, it does this and it is a simple thing, there's actually like 15 different components that have to be taken into account in terms of what the code do and all that. And so by doing it this way, I've actually been learning what it is that I actually need to know about coding without having to try to learn how to code. I Once I know what variables in code that I can change and how to change them to make it do what I want, I don't need to write a code. I don't need to write code because at that point I know that any if a player crosses this block, do this thing, such as teleport them back to this point. All I have to do is change a few numbers in this one set of brackets to go from this one block to a doorway or a wall around the side of a playing field, for example. Like, I don't need to learn how to write all this code. I need to know what variables in a functional code snippet I can change to make this do this. And so that's how I'm going about learning all this. And now, once I know all of that, I'm great. I understand software concept. And so instead of having to learn to code NPC behavior, for example, for villagers, I will be using the NPC mods to set up various things. And then I will learn how to create large enough response pools So that way it actually has that rounded out feel that goes into the games. And then learning all of the different things, like for Cube.js, for example, having to translate everything from 16.5, which is the mod pack version that I am learning from, into 19.2, which is my preferred version and that I'm going to be staying on for the rest of my life, using my full mod pack to be able to pick and choose which mods I need for for an Assassin's Creed game that is set specifically in the city and is all from the modern day perspective events, versus whether I need to have magic abilities, or whether or not regeneration is through the magical energy you draw or from some sort of science, chemical based, whatever, based on plot lines and world building stuff. And so having a selection of full mods in my full world lets me pick and choose which ones I need if I want to build a specific game, that I can go and take a vanilla world without any mods in it and then go and put what it is that I want in that, and then be able to actually do these pre-packaged games where you actually go and do a plot line. You go from this location and you do this thing with enough background behind all of that where it feels like you're in a full world. And then when you get to the end of that and you're going to the next level of the game, you would then teleport somewhere else on the map into another chunk of terrain. And if you ever look at the entire map and all, what feels like this, like, large, and full world is actually made up of these distinct zones that may have like 10,000 meter, like a block is 1 meter, 10,000 blocks in between their zones. Like, you'll have this chunk of territorial and you'll have this zone for that will have command blocks and stuff like that in places that the player won't ever see, that are running the game mechanic, that are telling the game to start doing narration when you get near this place, warning you you are approaching the temple, this is a sacred space, etc. You know, or villain laughs, you know, and then once you get into a room, if you do this, then it can activate the spawners by one simple way is use an observer block. It makes a block go here. This makes a thing go here, which then goes and reveals the spawner and lets it start spawning. Like I said, my whole point is how to build the games. And then from there, I'm actually going to be using Create, which is a very nice mod set in Minecraft. And from there, that is actually going to be the literal backbone of my gaming setup, where if I want to have multiple multiple type mini games that can all be in the same arena. Everything from a King of the Hill shooter, to a team based capture the flag, or whatever else. The only differences between these is how, like, what specific command blocks are putting what in the world for this game to happen, and then start running countdown timers or anything else associated. If you build these games in layers, and then you have a redstone block that goes from each layer, depending on how far pistons push it or anything else like that, or even having specific things where you have a board where you can actually select game one, game two, game three. These have in the Create, there is these wireless connectors where you can have a block over here and then a block however far away. And when you hit the button here, the receiver here then can go and push that block there. Yeah. And then whenever it is you switch games or you end game, then something else will go and make that retract and then disable all of the command blocks. So that way you're not, you know, you're not getting scoring for for a game that you're not playing, etc. It's a way to be able to have multiple games, including even doing sequels. If you have a full preset map, you can have a full set of command blocks that take you through an actual game. And then you can do another full set of command blocks that take you through a sequel to that game set in the same place. And then you could have another layer that be able to be, the third game in that series. And you can continue to do that as long as you stack everything vertically, then you can have as many games as you want. Like you can sit there and build a basketball court and have an entire different set of AIs and everything else for different for different bot players to be able to have on teams and everything, and then have like how there's like the NBA games have every year, where you could have like a multiplayer arena shooter that updates every year, and there being a fictional league within it that the bot players actually get traded back and forth between different teams or whatever else, and so on, more background filler. So that's just like overall what like using this one world and having all of these different things that I'm doing within that world. It's just because ultimately this one single world works because I not only can do everything at the same. It's more about the fact that I'm able to do each of my things completely separately from everything else on it on a single map is more me showing off my skills as a world builder doing the large scale stuff. But ultimately, everything I'm doing is all of this multiple projects that are related to everything that work together and are able to fit into a single world. That is the basics of why it is I'm doing this map of like and everything on it at this scale and so forth. As for a lot of the things that I'm doing, for I do need to get something to drink in a little bit. Uh, some of the things that I'm going to be working on. Uh, this is one of my. Oh, I love this. Uh, just because of the fact that I know it's going to make people like question my sanity. I think I actually am planning on doing a backpack. Where I can have that. I already know that if I have a curved shield, then it doesn't matter where this turns on. But the whole point is that this would actually be able to come up and actually be able to be popped off, and then once it's cleared is when it would be intended to actually turn on the blades. But the main reason for that is because I need to fit that in this. So this is going up into this area. And so yeah. Uh, one of the things that it's hard for people to take me seriously on because I really don't I really don't encourage them to take me seriously, is that I'm actually doing legitimate and real like proof of concept stuff. And so in the event that Elon Musk were to tell me, hey, I heard you could think of some ideas, so come up with my Mars suit. Okay. But in the event that I was to be doing the Mars mission suits, for example, Okay, something like this at this scale, ultimately at the envelope it will encompass, is a pretty good starting point. And so that is what I am going to try to work with. Now, uh, ultimately, there are a number of things that I would assume would be provided for in whatever else, but besides that, the fact of being able to use the structure of the Hulkbuster suit and how behind the head there is actually a pretty sizable piece there. And so that piece being able to actually hinge outwards, you know, be if it's split down the middle there, and then the piece in the back actually coming up, coming back, uh, then in a real life situation, a drone could be easily stored and deployed within that. Now, in terms of costuming, on the other hand, if you take a drone that looks like it can take your head off, and then you replace the motors with something uh, a lot less dangerous. Well, more specifically, replace the blades with something a lot less dangerous. Uh, I actually would be thinking more LED strips or something. But if you actually turn the speed down, so instead of it being uh, it just goes at maybe 60 RPM, then you have a efficient cooling unit. Granted, it's right behind your head, but then again, I mean, that's why you have a cage or whatever else. The entire point of this entire setup, but yeah, because I would be more likely to pop it up this way. So that way, when this deploys, that is up there and is over the crowd. Mm, but you know, it's just mostly because of just trying to figure out just how to do some of it. And but anyway, but in any event, the fact is that mostly the drone that is actually going to be installed in there is mostly going to be for show. I am going to be working on a actual full like working proof of concept like back mounted launcher for a real drone. Um, this actually is a Vivitar AeroView drone, by the way. And I love this thing. I have two of the feet and two of the blade guards, and I need to find replacement propellers for the black ones. Um, yeah, because I have two of the. Oh, wait a minute. What do I have here? Oh, awesome. I have one A and one B, which means I can. Oh, I have my templates. Oh, yes. Yeah, this is actually something which you could safely cast out of plastic and actually make your own blades for something like this. Uh, all I really need is the mold, uh, and make sure that I have the hole in the middle as part of the mold itself, and then I can just drop resin, and carbon fiber into the mold, uh, and inject it as a pressure mold or something like that. Uh, oh, but yeah, I'm gonna be doing. But the main reason why I'm actually getting into trying to get the drone fixed up just so that way I can actually maybe start doing some photography. Uh, I know a couple of property managers who they want to get pictures done. I uh, or they would like to get pictures done. And personally, I have nothing better to do. And these kind of jobs, especially if I make it clear to them, it's no, I am not doing this as a job. This is, I have a toy. I am willing to get some photographs, you know, but other than that, it's, I want to play with my toy. Okay, cool. I'm here. Leave me alone now. I'm going to play with my toy. I'll give you the pictures afterwards. Whee! So, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing with that. Is I've got like several ideas that I'm trying to fully develop. This is a Toby, Toby Industry speech case, which is in fact actually my, which is actually my autism assistance device because I have situational mutism, and yeah, so the TD Snap. Uh, I hate it when it does that because I always freak out. But yeah, the TD Snap, like this is the default thing. Uh, yeah, is actually really good. By the way, if you actually need a speech generator, and you can't get insurance to cover a device or anything else like that, don't worry. I mean, don't really worry about trying to get a device per se, because you can get an iPad or an iPad Mini. I mean, like most people can can somehow end up usually getting a hold of an iPad or a either through at a pawn shop or something like that. But you got the TD Snap app is only like $50, which it's a bit steep. I mean, I don't, I'm used to certain things, like if it's just up available on the store like that. But yeah, 50, I know $50 for an app is a bit, but it's actually, like I said, the TD Snap app is amazing. I mean, I usually just use the keyboard. I actually need to start programming in like things like my quick fires, which is like my frequently used stuff and the stuff that I want to like I know I say and just like boom 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 boom. Um, and right now, what I'm doing with this though is ultimately there are several drawbacks to the Toby speech case that I mean like this is fine, and if you are left-handed, or you're using it, whatever, left-handed, then it's fine. But if you're actually using it like I do, or like then the fact that the iPad is oriented upside down, I know doesn't really matter that much, but is kind of annoying. Yeah, but the major issue with the Toby speech case is the fact that you cannot access the physical volume control buttons easily. I mean, you can access them, but it's like you got to get up here and then you got to, do that. Uh, and you cannot access the headphone jack net, easily either. But you can access it easily enough, you know, temporarily and occasionally by and then plugging it in, and then plugging it in. I would not recommend doing this unless you have some sort of wedge that you can keep these layers separated. Anyway, but yeah, as long as you can keep you know, the frame, the iPad, and the case itself separated a little bit, so that way you don't put undue stress on the headphone jack. then it's not the end of the world. I mean, I could live with it, you know, under my current use scenario, which is I basically I'm sitting there and I'm watching stuff at night. Uh, this also works really well and still allows me, you know, still the same secure grip. And then I will be eventually figuring out some sort of where I can just secure that, you know, and that so it's not just flopping around. Uh, this also allows me to do this in, you know, in different configurations as well. Uh, and most of that actually is by pure accident, by the way. I was just trying to get it to fold, and then I was going to decide where else to put a fold in it. And the fact that it has just kind of, you know, it like this is the kind of stuff that Apple should be coming up with, you know, but like they're not. Uh, I do need to try to make that a little bit more rigid, but this actually does work as a functional kiosk. Uh, and if I were to have a Bluetooth keyboard, then this would actually be a effective arrangement for this case. And so I ended up figuring out like a lot of ways, and this is just the first step because the next step involves me actually taking the iPad out of this case, and then I will ultimately be kind of grinding down some of the stuff so I can actually put this attached to the actual Toby speech case, which would then allow me to be able to reorient as needed and regain all of the full access to ports and everything that it is I needed to. And then ultimately everything put in and then realigned so that this actually closes over the thing. And so it will end up increasing, you know, the envelope. Yeah, at one point I ended up actually hitting the screenshot button by accident. But yeah, because really all I really need to be able to do is to put it into, you know, the four main positions. You know, so I need to be able to do upright, which normally is, you know, like upright, you know, and on its side. Yeah. So yeah, you have upright, you know, and then portrait and landscape. And then based on how I have the case, occasionally I will need to be able to have it where it would be inverted or inverted portrait mode, you know, in relation to a permanent orientation on the device, and to put it into like nerdy engineering terms. But yeah, so those are like the biggest kind of things going on right now, or at least biggest single like the projects I'm having the most issues with, and it's not because any of them are hard. It's the fact that I just like um I'm kind of like getting into playing with toys that I have just dreamed about for a long time. Ah, okay. Yeah, I don't care whether smoking is in my YouTube channel's not marked for children. Huh. All right. And now to get into for the last bit of this, and then I'm actually going to go like get something to eat. Uh, I am building a world that is it's my like what dreams may come or anything like that. That is what the overall map is. What it is that I'm doing right now is I'm going to be playing I'm going to be playing an enhanced vanilla experience survival world. Uh, where I not only have cheats enabled, I have a level 3 regeneration block with a 10-minute buffer in case anything happens to the command block. Uh, I keep inventory, and I even have a collection of command blocks in which I will get diamond tools because this is the future. I'm building a planetary colony. We have jetpacks, and carbon is abundant and cheap and easy to compress. So I get diamond tools, I get an elytra and rockets because it's the future. We have jetpacks. Uh, I'm not going to be I'm not going to be doing a lot of other things, but I basically designed this to give me a video gamey experience. Um, not OP, but you know, uh, a bit more durable than Journey to the Savage Planet would kind of imply that you are. And in Journey to the Savage Planet, uh, the storyline is that the player wakes up out of cryo sleep and is an employee of a mining company, and basically they are given the choice. They can either locate exploitable resources and return home with the reports, because if they can actually find sufficient fuel reserves to get off of the planet, that means they found sufficient fuel reserves worth making a return trip to exploit further. I mean, that's like in the beginning dialogue, they pretty much make all that stuff clear. Fanfic of this game was going to be that I talked the AI into saying, screw the company, there's alien tech here. How about we master it for ourselves and then go and go and notify everybody that we now own the company, or whatever. But basically, it's a whole thing. And so from there, that's what I'm kind of doing with this is that, because of the access that would be granted if my little fanfic version of it for just the game was there, then yeah, he would have all of these different things. Or in the same basic vein, the world of Journey to the Savage Planet, like the universe build in which, because of the fact that you can use clones of yourself as mining company employees that go off planet, uh, then okay, fine. I managed to be able to get a hold of the basic things required to send up whatever. And okay, I've woken up on this planet and oh, I'm a clone. Okay, let's see. Okay, at least I've got a decent planet. Yeah. And then from there, and then I'm going to be adding mods. And so the storyline becomes not only have I, so not only is there alien tech, there's all of this. And it's just kind of that's the basic premise behind the game. And now, whereas the game that I'm building for the Ultimate World is that the player is a new supervisor, maintenance tech, or whatever. I'll pick whatever at that point, who has arrived on the planet and it now has to go through whatever various thing, because as the administrator of the colony for the humans or whatever, there's going to be Feywild in this, and so you will have to end up going to the Feywild dimension in order to introduce yourself to the various Feywild governments or whatever, uh, and then all of the other different dimensions that are going to be, encompassing all of this, because of the guy who was originally building everything eventually got tired of it and decided this and just left whatever, which is where when I get this built up to what it's going to be, I'm going to actually go and like as I'm going along, I've actually marked out where things are going to be. I've left specific instructions and things like that in places. And so as I'm building the actual game, we will get into where here we have, okay, this they have come into the spawn and they are now going through the initial thing or whatever. Okay, cool. And now I send them off to what I'm building now, which is that, the initial thing of, you know, uh, they need to finish out specific tasks and things like that in order to, and then the the quantity of blocks that would be collected within that are going to be the benchmark goals for them to meet on the scorecard to open up the next objective in the quest line, which will then be that, oh, it says here in the build order that this tunnel needs to be lined this tunnel needs to be lined with the carved brick. And so you can take all of that cobblestone that you have and you turn that into the carved brick, and uh, yeah, and then from there, I know that there's things where you can like just like not to get off on a thing, but anyway, once you actually do that, then it'll have all of the different things. And then, but tonight I'll be actually starting on Twitch doing that stream where I will be outlining all of that. And now I have gotten to a certain point, and I'm now determining what the starting base is going to be because I'm using the 2B2T seed. And so instead of it being this, you know, instead of it being like the anarchy server, uh, on one thing it's a philosophical anarchy server, uh, and so this is the arrival center. Anything outside of that is a matter of, whatever, but within this there is this safe zone and so on and so forth. And it really was more just summing up different conversations and just thoughts about 2B2T. And instead of it being what it was, it's like, okay, here is this thing that it's going to be. Uh, just mostly just to kind of touch on this, my inspiration for this was an alternate timeline of what Spawn would look like. And then from there, I went and decided, okay, this is here. And the client that that I'm building the world for, I should say, is a off-screen character from the universe Fringe, from the TV show, where they had a contract with the government to protect the Fringe universe against the incursions that was a plot line in the Marvel universe, where different universes were colliding and all. But what you saw on the screen was just this side. This was actually B plot for what was going on the thing, on the world, which is where actual universes are colliding because of that. But in the universe, like I said, for this thing, the Fringe television show that everybody watched is the B plot of the universe this comes from. And so the like my character um, has a contract with the government to protect the Fringe universe against the incursions that were going on. So technically, this is an MCU related thing. Um, But part of the conditions of the contract is that I get to save and preserve parts of those universes for my own. Like I want to rescue the puppies, if I can, and I get to exploit what tech and everything I find. I turn over anything useful or whatever. Some of that, like I said, getting into like character descriptions and getting trying to actually get into the storyline of it, which is really just nothing more than I needed a scenario to frame how is this going on, and the sideline of that of my business with the government is I run a planetary creation company making custom worlds and pocket dimensions for private clients. And one of our worlds was where we had the mice, so there's a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference. uh, and the whole thing is basically supposed to be my own personal little rip off of Zamp. So instead of it being puns, the entire running theme is copyright infringement. uh, yeah, I guess. And if you're actually still watching this, I am amazed. Yeah, thing. But yeah, that's basically what it is. It's not that I'm really like doing all of these like thematic things and whatever else. It's just all of these little things that I have in there that okay, uh, just what I'm doing and how kind of like Xanth is this entire thing that a lot of people know about, and it runs this way. And so my little version of it is this. Um, One like part of what I'm doing is I have the uncensored library is a pre-generated world that is being done by a team. I suggest you look them up. I will actually reference them in the description. that mm, mm, But yeah, what they do is they actually release the map as a way to disseminate all of the different texts, articles, books, things that are actually like legitimately being censored, not like I was suspicious at first, and I looked to make sure that it was okay. Is this another? And it's like, no, this is where like somebody wrote an article about how it is that a local group is doing this thing that they should not be doing, justifying it because of these reasons, and the government actually is trying to kill them because of the fact that they managed to get this article published somewhere, and then they tried to suppress that, but then this group was able to preserve the article, or at least the text and so on. It's just one example of what's going on with the uncensored library. And so, one of their projects that they do is that they encourage people to download the map and use it, for their own thing, but to at least keep a copy of it. Like when you download it, they ask you to download it and then make a copy of that, or download a second one. It doesn't matter, but try to keep a copy of the map, so that way if whoever it is that might be trying to take the project offline is able to attack the servers, maybe somebody out there will have a copy of the map that they can restore from. And then they also encourage people to use like the building in their own builds and so on. And then Greenfield is another one that I'm using. Those are two projects that, because of the way that the projects run, the running joke is that anybody using their map is officially a fork of their project. But that's that does not imply that anybody who is officially a fork is on their team or not. Um, and then Mr. Beardstone has the Perfect World series. That is where I'm drawing a lot of my inspiration from. In fact, it's kind of guiding me. And so I've been using his series. The first episode of it that he does is building his starter home. And so that's what I'm going to be doing tonight is I'm going to be starting that. And then after I finish this, then I will be looking at what I'm going to be doing next and going from there in this. But anyway, I am going to cap this off and actually go get something to eat. I will be on Twitch tonight. I'm not sure when, but I will be on for several hours because I'm just going to be doing the raw build session. And if anybody happens to want to like look in on it and everything, this is where I'm actually going to be getting into doing the actual build of starting my game, building the world, implementing various code and so on. So, well, anyway, I will get back to y'all later. And